Hey everyone, and a warm welcome back to the channel and another video on my Rapid Blue 2023 Camaro SS. So I've had the car for about 5 weeks now and I haven't really modified it other than just doing the ZL1 1LE style front lip and getting the car fully paint corrected and ceramic coated, which is why it looks so insanely glossy. But I haven't done any modifications, so today that's going to be changing because I'm going to be working on the interior. So as you can see, I'm already kind of started with the process. There's already some videos showing how to do the steering wheel swap, so there's no need for me to go into detail with that. If you just search it up on YouTube, a guy made about a 20-minute video showing the process. The battery is disconnected. Obviously my airbag unit is removed. I taped everything up so that I didn't scratch any of the plastics or the buttons whilst I was removing the airbag, because it is kind of tricky. There's not much clearance on the back when you're disconnecting the airbag electrical connections. So I just taped everything up so that none of my pick tools scratched any of the controls. But to get right to it, this is what we're going to be working with today. So I decided for this car I would change up the finishes. Instead of doing the glossy carbon fiber that I had done on the Mercedes, I decided that matte carbon would be the theme that I would go with on the Camaro. So we have a fully custom steering wheel. I'll go over that separately in a few minutes. We have the side bolsters that go on the side of the center console, and then we have the center console bezel itself, complete with the leather kind of shift boot, and then we have the automatic shift knob, which again is normally leather and plastic. This is fully matte carbon fiber, the entire thing. As you can see, we've got Rapid Blue accents on the steering wheel, as well as custom slightly larger carbon fiber paddle shifters. So this thing is beautiful. It's so nice. I haven't seen anybody else with a Rapid Blue accented steering wheel done in the matte carbon like this. So I think I'm kind of unique in that design. Obviously this particular design of the carbon fiber steering wheel is very common, but in the matte carbon with the custom emblem that I had made, and also the striping and the stitching as well to match my seats, I think it's just a killer combo that I haven't seen anywhere else before. So yeah, super excited to see how this is going to look. I think it's really going to change up the interior. And it's going to be a gradual process. Obviously today, I'm just going to kind of be working in the center with the steering wheel, the center console surround, the shifter and the side bolsters. In the future, I will be visiting the door panels. I've already got something coming for the sills. So I will be visiting other parts of the interior. This is just kind of step one, because it does take time, you know, obviously to find the parts that you're looking for if you're getting things custom made. I would have loved to do everything in one shot, but yeah, I'm having to be patient because I have got some custom stuff coming. Anyway, so yeah, let's jump into it. I'm going to pull off the factory steering wheel and we can compare this to the new custom one that I have going on the car. All right, and just like that, steering wheel is off. Just a little side note, it really is tight. There's plenty of Loctite on the factory torque screw. I did not use an impact. I did not want to risk having any accidents, stripping anything out. So I just used my torque wrench, but it did require all of my strength to break that thing loose. It really was a fight to break it off. So just a little note for anybody that's doing the same thing. That little Torx thing here, this guy is absolutely lathered in Loctite from the factory. So just keep that in mind when you're taking it off. You will have to give it a lot of force. So yeah, so here we go. This is the steering wheel that we are taking off and the one that's going on. So as you can see, the diameter of the steering wheels is the same. The thickness is slightly increased on the carbon fiber one. It's probably about, I don't know, 25% thicker if I was to put a number on it. And obviously you have these exaggerated bumps on the grip areas. Again, this is a style of carbon fiber steering wheel that's been done pretty much since the 2016s came out. All of the carbon fiber wheels that I've seen are all, you know, a very similar shape. I did, however, get these custom made larger carbon fiber shifters. These are factory shifters that have been elongated with matte carbon fiber. They're not stick-on. These are complete replacement factory paddles. Just because I like to drive using the paddle shifters quite often. In fact, I would say most of my driving, I'm usually using the paddles. These are, you know, as I said, factory paddles, so the engagement is exactly the same. You can use them nice and far up. You know, there's no kind of dead spot on the paddles. So really, yeah, really like the paddle shifters being a little bit longer. And again, with the white kind of letters, or you can call them symbols, to match the stitching. I like that combination. Obviously I went with the perforated leather side grips. I'm not a big fan of having Alcantara on steering wheels. I like it when it's brand new, but it's really hard to keep it. Even with cleaning it regularly, I still favor having leather, just for my personal preference. It just stays looking new for, you know, as long as you have the car, really. There's no chance of it really kind of becoming looking worn unless you were to be rubbing against it all the time. But I think it's going to stay pretty much looking brand new without too much effort. Obviously the control button surrounds here are done in matte carbon as well, so I'm completely removing any of the kind of the chrome pieces. And you'll see here that on the factory wheel, this bezel piece is separate to the leather, whereas on the carbon fiber it's all molded into one, so there's no seam at the bottom here. Now what I did have done is I had a company make me a custom emblem with the rapid blue and the silver kind of outline to the lettering in the, you know, the correct SS kind of design font to match the factory, identical sizing and placement, so that I got a really nice kind of matching kind of combination with the emblem and the stripe at the top. I think it looks really, really beautiful in the matte carbon with the rapid blue accents. I think it really stands out and pops. And then these are all complete replacement pieces. These are modified factory parts. These are not stick-on pieces. These are real carbon that have been overlay. I'll link the company information at the bottom for anyone who wants any similar work done. But yeah, so anyway, let's get into it. Let's get the new steering wheel in place and we'll see how it looks in the car. All right, so the steering wheel is slid onto the steering shaft. I just need to connect up the main electrical connectors and put in the sensor bolt. I will be putting Loctite on it, but I won't be going as crazy as the factory did, just in case I ever need to remove the steering wheel in the future. I don't want to have to fight it as hard as I did when I removed the original bolt, because I think that 40 pounds was what the torque spec was on the Mercedes, and I'm just going to do the same for this. I'll do 40 foot-pounds, a little bit of blue Loctite, and we should be absolutely fine. Obviously, the airbag, I'll just have to make sure everything is good. Double check all the connectors before I put it back in, because the airbag is quite a tedious job to unsnap. It's really in there strong. So yeah, once that's done, I'm going to move on to the center console and keep moving with my installation. So yeah, let's keep going. Airbag is snapped into place. Just make sure all of the wires that are on the back of the airbag, they have like little clips for them to kind of follow a certain path on the back of the airbag. Just make sure that you definitely re-engage the wires in there, because the airbag will not seat properly if the wires aren't basically tucked away to the sides as it locates into its prongs. So yeah, airbag is snapped into place. Again, just take time with this kind of stuff so you don't put any scratches on things. Nothing worse than scratching up plastics in the car because you didn't take your time. So everything's perfect. This new steering wheel is looking absolutely amazing. I am so pleased with how this is looking. And yeah, now I've got to figure out removing this and yeah, just take my time with it. I did look online. I believe that this collar separates from the shift knob, and then I can slide the shift knob, just basically slides upwards, and then I can work on popping out this silver trim. So yeah, I'm gonna start with the shift knob. I'll do this off camera and I'll just kind of come back to it in stages so that you guys can see my process, and then we'll move on to the side bolsters once I've tackled this job. All right, let's get going. So before I start trying to remove this, I've just put some masking tape around the trim. From what I've seen online, I basically just need to unclip this leather boot from the surround. So there are a couple of little securing plastic clips around the side. Basically, once you break the front half of it loose, the whole boot is going to lift up and off, and that will then allow me access to the underside of the boot here and release the clips from the shift knob. So I'm going to be sliding in my tool between the leather and the plastic, and like I said, this masking tape is just going to make sure that I don't scratch up this plastic, because I am keeping all the factory parts, and it's a shame to damage things if you can keep them in perfect condition whilst you're taking them off. So yeah, just thought I'd just show that. Okay, so this collar just unsnapped really easy. 2 little clips, 1 on each side. Just gently pry against them with a small flathead screwdriver, and the whole boot separates. So this whole thing is now disconnected. So I now need to remove the shift knob. This basically just has 2 tabs that lock into place on the side of the shaft here. So a really firm pull upwards, and this thing will just like unsnap. I put this up here so I don't have any accidents, whether I'm jamming it into the dash, not only for the dash's protection, but for my hand. I'm not sure how much force this is going to take. From the one video I'd seen online, the guy really did have to give it a strong tug to get it off. So this is just a protection for both me and the vehicle. So yeah, I'm going to give this a tug off, and then I'll be able to tackle the rest of the assembly. All right, shift knob is right off there, no problems. A little bit of a tip: if you just try and pull with constant force upwards like this, it will not go anywhere, no matter how hard you try. However, if you give it a little bit of a wiggle and kind of grab from this position and go wiggle, 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 and tug at the same time, it comes off with relative ease. I would say only about a 7 out of 10 with the strength needed to yank it off once you kind of wiggle it. So yeah, that's it. Now my shift boot comes off, I have these off, so now we can tackle the silver trim here. And again, I know from the piece that we are installing here, just put these down. Again, I'm trying to keep all the factory pieces in nice condition. Always important to keep them in case you ever need them in the future. From the carbon fiber piece, I can see you basically have these 4 clips here, which will snap into the center console, and then you have these 2 locating tabs at the front. So I think I'll have to basically unsnap upwards and then slide out. So yeah, but I'll go ahead and use my pry tool carefully, and we'll see how the switches connect to the underside. So I don't see any screw holes here, so I'm interested to see maybe they attach down onto the housing of the center console, and this basically just snaps over the top what looks to be the setup. And then this already has the electrical connection for the kind of the illuminated PSND shift selection. What I like about this piece is it's one piece of carbon as well, instead of it having seams like the factory piece. This is just one piece between the matte black plastic and the silver, whereas this is just all one piece. Yeah, I think that's going to look really nice. All right, so let's get this silver piece off the car. And just like that, the center console piece is removed. I just used my fingers, no tools needed. I just gave it a really strong tug upwards. I basically just grabbed my fingers under this edge here, yanked it up once, and that was enough to break the clips loose. And then it just slid straight up and out. As you can see, all of these buttons are just part of the center console housing, so they stay in place. So now I'll be able to slide the matte carbon fiber in place. Obviously the shift boot can stay attached. That can just go over the collar here. You'll see here I've just got to take one of these clips out that was left behind in this little receptacle here. And then the electrical connector for the illuminated gear shift selection that needs to be plugged back in. And that'll be it. And then I'll just snap the shift knob on. And we should be good to go. And then I'll move on to the side bolts to pieces. But yeah, I am absolutely buzzing to see how this is going to look once we get this whole thing changed out. So I'm going to get some needle nose pliers, carefully remove this so I don't lose anything under the dash, and then I will slide the matte carbon fiber piece in place. Actually, you know what, before we do that, let's just put this next to the factory piece. You can see here, you see how the factory piece is basically two materials. You have the matte carbon, the matte plastic, and then the kind of the chromy silver. With here, the seam is gone. This is just completely smooth in one piece, which really cleans up the look of the center console. You see the quality is absolutely beautiful. All the edges are nice and clean. I love the matte carbon. I think it's going to look so nice once this gets put in the interior, especially with this full matte carbon shift knob as well. So if we compare the shift knobs, again, I'll grab the factory shifter from over here. I mean, this is a nice shift knob. I like the Camaro emblem on the top. I do like that it's leather wrapped. It's nice and premium, but obviously it's matte black plastic around the kind of the chrome shifter. And then you have the same kind of brushed metal at the bottom. Whereas this guy is absolutely full matte carbon fiber, aside from the shifter kind of, you know, release button for changing the gears. But it's full matte carbon. It's a factory original part, so this will go on exactly like the factory shifter. Yeah, this is gonna look so good. All right, let's get this piece installed and we'll get back with you in a moment. Okay, so that's the center console piece snapped into place, and everything works as far as the clearance on the buttons is good. Nothing is catching anywhere. I did swap over the little digital display thing from my factory piece just because I noticed they had a different part number on the back, and I didn't want to risk this for some reason being incompatible and not illuminating once I've got everything back together again, because I don't want to have to take this apart again. So I swapped that piece over. Super easy, just 2 screws on the back holding it in place. Obviously I didn't have to take the leather boot off, that could just stay attached to the new piece. And then now we have the full carbon fiber shifter to go on, so I'm going to go ahead and snap that into place. So here we have shift knob on, everything is buttoned up, shift boot is snapped into place. Everything works fine, shift knob functions nicely. So yeah, that's that all finished up. So now we just need to do the side panel pieces. These just kind of snap upwards and then they just kind of pop straight off. So that'll be the last piece, take about 2 minutes to install, and then I'll show you the finished, the finished product. All right, so yanked these off. As you can see, the new pieces are just factory pieces, the same as these. They just snap, kind of snap down and locate into a groove along the top edge. So those will be super easy, but look how much nicer that looks. Just a subtle touch, but so much nicer in the matte carbon. Yeah, let's go ahead and get this installed on the car. There we go, full carbon fiber. Side pieces are all snapped in. Yep. So there we go, finished up. I'll get some pictures outside. It's looking a bit weird in here with the iPhone flashlight on, so we'll get some outside pictures. So it's the next day and everything is all finished up with my interior mods. So before I go ahead and just show you guys the finished result, I just want to say that that was definitely one of those projects where everything took longer than I thought it was going to. The removal of the factory airbag took me a lot longer than anticipated. The cables on the back are really short, and that just took me a while to get the steering wheel off, especially with all the Loctite that was on the center bolt for the steering wheel, and then taking my time in reinstalling all of the matte carbon fiber on the center console. That really took me a lot longer than I expected. So this wasn't the quick project that I thought it was going to be originally, but the results are, well, I'll show you guys and you can see how good. Excuse the kiddie stuff in the back. Me and the family have been having a load of fun in this car. I'll go ahead and open up here. What I really like about the matte carbon fiber is that it's not like an in-your-face kind of finish. It's classy and it very much fits in with the whole interior. It's very complementary to the kind of the grey shade of the Alcantara on the Recaro seats. And the rapid blue accents with the stripe and the SS emblem at the bottom are just enough, I think. Adds a little bit of colour. Obviously the stitching is a light grey colour to match the stitching on the seats. And I absolutely just love how the shifter has kind of, what's the word I would say? It's kind of subtled down the look of the shifter is the best way to describe it. Because with all of the shiny metal on there, it kind of sticks out. Whereas with this all being full matte carbon fiber now, it's very understated. You know, the gear shifter doesn't kind of stick out in your face. So it just makes the whole center console kind of look, I don't know, it just kind of flows better in my opinion. Obviously the knee pads in matte carbon as well. So I'm very pleased with the end result. I think you guys will agree that it's come out really, really well. So like I mentioned earlier, I will be going with some accents on the doors. That's coming up. And I'm also going to be doing something with the side steps on an upcoming video. But that's it for today. Steering wheel, center console, shifter, knee pads. That's all finished now. Give you guys a really good look at it. It's definitely nice to have the top down so you can see it much better. Alright, well thank you guys very much for watching. I sincerely appreciate anybody who is a subscriber. You guys are awesome. Hopefully I can continue to bring some more cool content with some parts coming up on this Rapid Blue SS. Obviously if you're not a Camaro owner and you just enjoy fast cars and sports cars in general, then hopefully you'll still enjoy the Camaro content. And yeah, got some fun stuff coming up for the car. So thanks again for watching. Really happy with how this turned out, and I will see you guys again very soon.
blame